Did you want it?
Okay, I have 6 o'clock, so we're going to get started. And at this time, could we stand for the flag salute? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could have a moment of silence, please. Tammy, could I ask you to do the roll call?
Patty Anderson. Here. Terry Armagust. Megan Greer. Here. Brady Fight.
Here.
Diane Page.
Here.
Jeff Powell.
Here.
Janine Stump. Here. Eric Sunling.
Here.
Kelly Chavoger.
Here. Thank you. Do I have a motion or any discussion on the minutes from the last month where we want to, is there any discussion on anything you want changed? If not, I need a motion to skip the reading of the minutes and just approve them as they are.
I so move. Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion by anyone? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to public participation. And at this time, we're going to start with Mr. Jim Marin. And I believe he has some information at each of your seats. Thanks, Jim. Yeah, so you could, that way they can hear since we're broadcasting the meeting.
Can you hear me? Okay, I passed this out. I'd like to propose that we name the AC Valley High School gym after Ron Botts. And I've listed the reasons here. Ron came to AC Valley in 1964. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but he was my JV coach that year. Then the next year, he was the varsity coach. He started what was a tremendous boys basketball coaching career, leading AC Valley to a PIAA runner-up finish in 1973. I was at that game. We had a 15-point lead, and they fouled our two best players out in the fourth quarter, who would have won the state championship. 5-time Clarion County League champions, 3-time District 9 champions. He was Clarion County League Coach of the Year 3 times, had an unbelievable 29-year coaching record of 409 wins, 286 losses, prior to retiring in 1993. And I believe this deserves a lot of consideration. I can tell you that Union did it over there with Don Stemmer. Keystone has already done it with Greg Heath. And I think that Ron Butts was as good, if not better, than both of them. I never played for Ron, really. He was the JV coach that year, but I watched him game after game after game. And I really would like to see, he's not well. Paula, his daughter, gave me most of this information. But I would like to see it happen. I don't know what that takes, but that's my presentation. Told you to be out of here in 6:05. Any questions?
Jim, we may put this in front of the athletic committee. We've reviewed a few policies in preparation to the meeting, and we'll reach back out to you after we have a little bit more time to discuss it.
Okay.
So thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else for public participation this evening? Okay, not seeing any, we move on to presentations, and we have 2 great presentations this evening. We're going to start with Alexis Rukdeschel, who's going to do a presentation on her senior project. So we're going to move out of the way.
Good afternoon, my name is Alexis Rukdeschel, and I'm going to present you today my senior project. Today I'll be talking about how I served my community, the colleges I visited, and the jobs that I've gone to shadow at. At the end, I'll talk about how Allegheny Clarion Valley impacted me and my final plan after high school. So for my community service, my junior year, I helped the junior high volleyball down here at the elementary school for probably over 20 hours. I had a blast doing it. And I helped teach the girls the basics of volleyball, like passing, setting, and hitting. It was overall a blast. And I chose to do this because I enjoy volleyball so much, and I would love to instill that in other generations. Through this, I became a role model, and I built a lot of friendships, and I hope to have those after high school as well. And I also built like an interest in coaching. I would not mind coming back here and coaching at all. I'd love to do it. And that was a great experience. And my senior year, I did a little bit of different community service because there was a little bit of a question if we were going to get a coach for junior high volleyball, and I'm glad we did. The girls did awesome, and I wish I could have been a part of that this year. But I did community service at the Community Christian Thrift Store. It was honestly a blast. The ladies there were awesome, and I loved that it was local, and it's operated by the 6 Points Church, which I live right down the road from. While I was there, I was sorting, pressing, and hanging items, and I loved that every day I was there was constantly people bringing in bags, and there was so many donations that they couldn't even put them on the racks. It was crazy, and I loved seeing that. Through this, I learned that donating is so impactful. Whether it be one shirt or 100, someone's going to enjoy it and needs it. So next, I went to a couple different colleges, and I went to Slippery Rock University, Edinburgh University, Penwest Clarion, Butler County Community College, and Mount Aloysius College. A couple of the ones that I chose to compare was Slippery Rock, Penwest Clarion, and Butler County Community College. First, I went to Slippery Rock. I enjoyed it. I loved it so much. There was nothing bad about Slippery Rock, and I would love to go there. They just do not have a major that I'm really interested in, but it was a beautiful campus, and I love the small classes. Even though they are a bit of a bigger college, they still kept them pretty small. And next, I went to Penwest Clarion. I didn't really like that it was like in the middle of the town. That wasn't really my jam, but they did have medical imaging, which I'm very interested in. And if I were to go there, I would have to live in the dorm. Well, I wouldn't have to, but I would like to. They were the biggest dorms I've ever seen. And if I would go there, I would definitely pick one of the biggest dorms they have. But unfortunately, I am not going there. I am deciding to go to Butler County Community College, and I'm going to major in their healthcare science program. It's a very good transfer program for anyone that wants to go into healthcare and save a bit of money. And I love their flexibility with scheduling with athletes, and it is pretty close to home. I mean, it's a 40-minute drive, but for how much I'm saving is what it really came down to, and that's what I learned the most was the cost among these colleges was so different. And starting a community college, I'm going to save so much more money. And yeah, that's the colleges that I visited for my senior project. Next are the businesses I job shadowed. First, I job shadowed a receptionist at the Foxford Inn Hotel right down the hill, and I wanted to do this because it's a desk job, and I wanted to see if I'm about the desk job life, and I'm really not. I cannot sit still. So through this, I did learn that you really need to be really good with computers and have really good communication skills and be able to communicate in the right situations and not upset anyone and keep everyone happy, which I'm pretty good at, but I cannot sit at a desk. So this taught me that this was not a job for me. And then I job shadowed a physical therapist assistant at Wise Physical Therapy in Grove City. This is what I thought I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I job shadowed that, and they stood 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I was like, man, I can't be up all the time either. So it let me find something in between. But I did learn there that everyone has different needs and the needs that you need to meet. And the bright side of this, it's only 2 years of schooling, and through that, you would get to help so many different people, all ages too, like athletes, and then people who need their knees rehabilitated because of just age, I guess. And there was really cool. They have aquatic therapy, and I've never seen that before, and it was the coolest thing ever. They had treadmills in the pools, and I actually got to sit and like help people, and it was a really good experience. If anyone is interested in that, I would push them to go there to job shadow. So next, the high school impact. I went to Allegheny Clarion Valley for my whole school career, and I loved it here. There's nothing I would change about my experience, and I hope that I'm still around here to let my kids go here because I love every minute of it. While here, I learned positive social interaction, how to work with others, how to be a leader, and time management, which is going to come in handy in college. And I also received many sports and academic awards here, and my experience here was just so good. And I would, I would do it over again, to be honest. Some of the classes that helped me achieve some of the skills that I just said was physical education, facts 2, accounting, algebra 2, and geometry. I'm very big into math, and I wish I could have went further with my math, but I chose not to. So the final plan. I plan to attend Butler County Community College for a year, and I will be a commuter, and my major will be healthcare science. I'm choosing to play volleyball for the Pioneers as well. After that year, I want to transfer to Mount Aloysius College, where I'll be for 3 years living in a dorm, and my major will switch to radiation therapy. And if I have enough time, I really hope to play volleyball for the Mounties. But in the end, my future is first, and volleyball is sadly not my future, but yes. I'd like to say thank you to all the staff at Allegheny and Clarion Valley for preparing me for my next chapter and making this whole school experience worth it. Any questions, please ask now.
First off, great job.
Thank you.
I think it was great that you price shopped around different programs and see what you liked and job shadowed different things to find out what you liked and didn't like. I think that was awesome.
Yeah, I think the only downside with job shadowing is I'm not 18 yet and I don't turn 18 until after school. So a lot of the places that I wanted to shadow, I couldn't because I was not 18. Like radiation therapy, I've reached out to so many places, but I have to be 18. So that's what I'll be doing this summer is job shadowing to make sure that I want to do that. But yeah, I'm so glad we do this project just because of that reason. It showed me, I saved 2 years not going to college for something that I thought I wanted to do. So it was, I love this project. I know everyone like Dallas is like, oh, we did this many hours and this many, but once you do it, it's like a breeze. Like I would go and job shadow a bunch of jobs right now if I had the time. It was really good.
Thank you, great job.
Questions? Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming and sharing your information with us. Diane's looking for some therapy if you're up for that.
I don't know what I was there, so.
You still have your pool, Diane? There you go. Okay, in our next presentation, Mrs. Jessica Namelli and some 5th and 6th grade students are going to talk to us about their STEAM team. And I believe they attended a conference recently or a competition.
Okay, so I'd like to introduce to you our 6th grade team. We had 5 different teams, and I'll let them explain more about that. But last month we attended a competition at the YMCA for the first time, and I'll let them tell you all about it.
Hello, my name is Miley Robin. These are my teammates, Jared Madsen and Gabe Johnson. Isaac Beatty was also a part of our team, but he couldn't join us tonight. We are 6th graders here to represent those who competed in the STEM Connects Challenge at the YMCA in Clarion on April 14th. Our school took 5 teams to compete, 2 4th grade teams, 2 from 5th grade, and 1 from 6th. Our team, Hurdles with a Porpoise, won 2nd place overall against 6 other districts with our invention prototype, the Ocean Roomba. One of our 5th grade teams, the ACB Penguins, won the Challenge Success Award, and the other 5th grade team, Proud Planet, won the Creativity Award. The objective of the competition was to design an invention that solves an environmental problem. Then we needed to build a prototype using only Connect to demonstrate how our invention works. We decided there's too much trash in the ocean, so we came up with a machine that collects the trash, but doesn't harm the ocean life. So the Ocean Roomba works by basically floating on the top of the water and like skimming it as trash runs into the 2 pools on the front. And there's like 2 sensors on it. I think one is a light sensor for like detecting the animals so that it doesn't run into them. And one is a heat sensor so that it can like find the trash. And in that top corner, there is a little tracker. So at the end of the day, once once it's done collecting trash, the person can come and pick it up and empty the trash from it. So, some problems we ran into while like trying to build it. Our original design was 2 like buckets that had other buckets on this like spinny thing that would pick up the trash and scoop it into the other buckets. But we couldn't figure out, there were 2 problems with that. We couldn't figure out how to make them spin without using 3 motors. And we couldn't figure out how to get them up enough so that they dump into the bucket without, and we couldn't figure out how to get them low enough to touch the water. So we couldn't figure those out. So we decided to just change it to that. And after that, it was originally like 2 main compartments. And we had the idea to just get rid of the middle line completely. So it's just 1 unit now. We used 1,358 pieces, and we were only allowed to use 1,400 pieces. So we were good enough. We were actually over for a little bit until we just got rid of like a bunch of pieces. So on the top, there's like an X system, and we just got rid of one of the sides of the X, so that it was under the limit.
You want to demonstrate how you're using rubber?
So the motor's in here, just gonna spin and propel it.
That moves it through the water, right?
It actually does nothing. So it's spinning that way. And then it just kind of floats into the trash as it goes in. We had to keep an inventory of our parts to calculate the cost to build one. This was my job. I determined that it would cost $25,965. We also had to keep a journal throughout the building process that recorded what we did each day. Jared and Isaac wrote the presentation. Miley designed our presentation board, even though we weren't required to come work on our project during recess. We did so almost every day. We also worked 2 mornings out of the 6-day rotation for 3 months. Once everything was ready, we had to tear the prototype apart into single pieces. At the competition, we had to rebuild the whole thing within 2 hours. It took us about 1 hour and 10 minutes to rebuild. When the judges came around to hear the presentation, we really enjoyed this competition. It was hard work, a lot of fun, and it was a great learning experience.
Great job. Was that your poster display?
Yeah. On it, we have our original presentation for like the competition. We have our inventory of the pieces, and we had to draw a blueprint.
Very good. And why did you decide on the ocean Roomba?
That was your idea.
Does your mom have a Roomba at home?
No.
No? Okay.
The game unit has, told us we had to like do something that wasn't really human operated.
Well, the whole objective of the competition was they had to choose an environmental problem that they wanted to solve, something that they felt very strongly about. So that's what they brainstormed different subjects. And this is the one that they felt strongest about and tackled with their invention.
Good job. Maybe we'll hear you in the news. Thank you. I know I've seen on news and in the magazines that trash in the ocean is a big problem.
I think.
Good job, everybody.
Yeah, great job.
The other presentation boards are the other teams, they're over on the board if you choose to go
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to board concerns. Any board concerns this evening? I need to mention a reminder that next Wednesday night's graduation. So David needs to know if anybody's handing out diplomas and also who's planning to come. So we have seating arranged. So if you'd let him know tonight or email him so he knows what everyone's intentions are about graduation, that would be great.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, not seeing any, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. If you look at the consent agenda, it's fairly short this evening. Are there any items you would like to be removed and voted on separately? Okay, not seeing or hearing anything. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussions? Not hearing any? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. All right, Meg, we'll move on to finance and purchase.
I'm gonna lump A through G together, make a motion to approve.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion on any of those items? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter H, cafeteria and national school lunch report, Mrs. Redding.
Good evening. Like I said last month, April was our last meeting, so April was a bit of a challenging month with the power outage and our lost inventory, but all in all, it went well. We're very excited. Our new steamers that we received through the grant money have arrived, and we are very, very, very excited to be able to use them when school starts this fall. I am still waiting to see what may or may not change with the National School Lunch Program for the upcoming school year, but PDE has just recently released the mandatory training that we have to take before we can do the 23-24 NSLP lunch application for the upcoming year. I'm hoping that within that training somewhere, it may give some insight as to what changes are coming or if they're leaving everything the same. I do know we got an email that stated that they are not implementing the sodium requirements for breakfast next year, but they are still planning on reducing that amount for lunch. So I'm sure that training somewhere is going to knock us down and tell us what our numbers are and where we need to be. And then they sent out also that they're having trainings with menu ideas and options that will fall into their spectrum, which is probably a very good idea because I am struggling greatly with trying to figure out how to make something fall into the requirements that I think maybe the kids might actually want to eat. So I'm riding the struggle bus there a little bit, but I'm really hoping and that they're seeing that this is going to be very difficult and that they're going to throw us some recipes, menu ideas, and hopefully spoken to the vendors about what we need to order and be able to get our hands on in order to make this work. Because we do have the child nutrition labels on a lot of items, but not everything has a child nutrition label. So I'm hoping that maybe some of the producers that we use through US Foods will start coming with inventory that we can order so that our menus can stay basically the same, but we have ingredients that we can use that will keep us underneath the thresholds that we need to follow for USDA requirements. May is coming up, we're in the middle of it, it's hectic, it's fun, it's field trips, it's chaos, and it's guessing how many meals do I need before the end of the year and do I order this or don't I? So Robin and I have been doing inventory almost daily, moving things around, we have, what's left Wednesday until it's on Tuesday, and we're just kind of filling those items in so that we hopefully don't end up with a lot of inventory at the end of the year. And so far we look pretty safe. So we'll be doing what I hope is my last order. Will be submitted by 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll receive it Wednesday. I'm crossing our fingers, we guess well enough to get us through the end of the year. Last week, Dr. Jordan, Mrs. Sherman, and I sat down in each of their buildings. We made phone calls again to all of the families with the overdue lunch accounts. We have roughly a little over 700 that is owed at the high school. And I think Andrew and I just did this today, and it was just over 700 at the high school, 500 down at the elementary school, which sounds like a lot, and it is, but the majority of that money is for lunch accounts. I have one family that's well over 500. I have 2 separate individuals that are well over 250 and one that's just above 70. So in speaking to them, they said they will have them paid by the end of the year. I gave them the amount that they would need to pay now, plus for all the meals or whatever they would owe through the end of the school year. And they stated that they paid, so I'm grateful that they come through with that. But if you take those 4 families out, everybody's $10 or under. So like I said, the majority of that money is just strictly for kids. So all in all, not the greatest amount, but I know just a few months back, we were between 3 and 5. But I would still send letters every week, and I started emailing every single day. And then I started Ice Cream Friday, where you can't buy the ice cream if you don't have money in your lunch account. And that's what we did that. So where there's a will, there's a way. But I'm pretty happy with our lunch accounts. Dr. McDivitt had asked me to check into that because he heard some pretty major horror stories from some other districts about how bad their overdue lunches and stuff were. So I'm pretty happy with where we're sitting right now. We'll give it a week, and if we need to make phone calls, we get it. Hopefully be a little happier next week than I am this week, but that's where we're headed towards the end of the year.
Thank you. Letter I, consideration to approve the all-access membership package with PSBA in the amount of $7,888.73 for the 2023-2024 school year as attached.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
J, discussion related to the certificate of deposit with Farmers National Bank in the estimated amount of $491,060.13, which is maturing on May 28, 2023.
So I guess the question is, we need to cash in that CD instead of renewing it, because we're going to need that for our budget balancing.
Yes, and I did check on the other CD, and we could redeem that CD. There would be a loss of $568.54, but then we can put that in to a CD for a year at that 4.3% rate instead of the 0.25%.
Yeah, we should definitely do
So then that would gain about $19,533 on it during that year.
Okay, so I guess we need 2 motions here. First one then is, I guess what we need to do is approve the redemption, thank you, I was trying to think of the word. Non-renewal is what I was thinking of. Redemption of the certificate of deposit that is currently at Farmers in that amount. Somebody like to make that motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the redemption of the CD at Farmers National Bank in the amount of $491,060.13 on May 28, 2023.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. And that will go into our general fund account.
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay. And then, Meg, if you want to make another motion that we what's the word we want to use?
Well, we need to
Cash it in and then
forfeit
Redeem.
our CD for the amount of $568.54 and put it into a new CD for a 12-month term at 4.3%. Anyway, you want to word that?
Okay.
That's why you're the finance officer, Meg. We'll let you figure that one out.
that. Would that be 2 motions, or would that be, could we do that?
We could make it 2 motions, yeah, that we're gonna withdraw, I don't know, is the word forfeit, withdraw, cash in,
We could use the word redeem
redeem,
with a forfeiture amount.
redeem it knowing that we're gonna have a forfeiture amount of
The
you got that?
$568.54.
Okay. So I'm making a motion to redeem the current amount of $491,060.13, with the forfeiture amount of $561.54 to officially close that account.
Yes, that's not this one though, it's a
Yeah,
different one.
This CD, sorry, this CD is actually gonna be in the amount of, after the redemption, it's going to be, the forfeiture amount, $454,274.67.
Okay, try it again, right?
Sorry.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the amount of $454,274.67 to form a new CD at, with a forfeiture of $568.54 due to fees. So, second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? I think we all understand.
I'm not positive.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
All right, K, consideration to approve joining the Riverview Intermediate Unit Number 6 Guest Teacher Consortium at a cost of $600 through July 30th, 2024. Guest Teacher Consortium Board Resolution dated May 1st, 2023, attached, so moved. Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
L, consideration to approve contracted services with Jason Pinota for psychological services to conduct evaluations, write reports, provide assessments, and work with the IEP team for program implementation as attached. So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Do we need to put a limit on that, or are we just gonna leave it open?
We put about $10,000 in the budget to cover these fees.
Okay,
So we could make a motion to not exceed the $10,000. Okay.
okay, what are your thoughts? Do we want to have that in there?
If we only budgeted for 10, I mean,
Yeah, we
it's
should
just, is that a realistic number that you put in there? Is that 10?
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, I'd say let's.
So we want
go
to
with that.
add that to the motion that it won't, that the fees will not exceed $10,000?
We get into a situation where we need him for more work, something.
We can revisit the motion.
Yeah, we can add a new motion and extend that contract.
So like when it gets to 9,000, to come back to the board then and seek additional funds? Is that-
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
that would be my suggestion, yes.
Okay,
I just think we need something in the motion to say that we're not going to exceed a certain amount. So are we okay by just adding to that we're not to exceed $10,000 amount? Okay. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
And consideration to approve the 2023-2024 Pennsylvania Association of Rural and Small Schools membership in the amount of $940 attached. Second.
Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
And consideration to approve the 2023-2024 preliminary school budget in the amount of $17,191,752. Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion on the budget?
so was that extra teacher included into that budget or no?
No.
And then there was, during the presentation, there was something about money for laptops or money for technology. Was that included in the budget or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter O, consideration to approve the local portion of revenue to support the proposed budget resulting in the following tax levels in the four counties. Armstrong, 33.42 mils, when compared to last year's 31.6 mils. Butler, 79.9 mils when compared to last year's 78.92 mils. Clarion, 53.6 mils when compared to last year's 52.07. And Venango, 14.88 mils when compared to last year's 15.3 mils. That's a $5 per capita, section 679, $5 per capita, Act 511. 1% earned income shared with municipalities where applicable. 1% real estate transfer tax shared with municipalities where applicable. 2% discount where applicable, and 10% penalty where applicable will be determined. So, second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion on any of this information? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Consideration to approve the homestead farmstead tax exclusion resolution to be distributed at the May 15th, 2013. So moved.
And you were sent that today by Andrea.
I think it's also everything. Yes.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. I hate to ask you this, but I didn't get it written down. The percentage for that new CD is going to be what? 4.3. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on to personnel. Eric, would you like to do personnel?
Sure. A, consideration to approve the request from Juan Jose Morales to fund receipt of all appropriate documentation to be a volunteer chaperone on the trip to Puerto Rico, June 6th through 14th, 2023. That's that. So,
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
B, consideration to approve the letter of resignation as assistant junior high girls volleyball coach from Megan Bashline, dated April 28th, 2023, as attached. So,
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
C, consideration to approve advertising for the vacated assistant junior high girls volleyball coach position. So,
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
D, consideration to accept the letter of retirement from Sandy Best, junior senior high school secretary as attached. Sandy's last day with the district will be Friday, July 14th, 2023. She has been employed with the district since August 2005. So,
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
See Sandy go,
I know, but
but good for her.
good for her. She'll make it. Yep. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. I don't know how we could oppose it anyways. We have to ask.
letter E, consideration of post in-house for the junior senior high secretary position. So,
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. And we're going to table letter F until next month.
I still good for it?
No, I don't think you need to. We're just going to table the motion for the 4-hour position. Okay, we're going to move on to instructional services. And Jameen, would you like to do that?
Sure. The instructional services, the elementary report, Mrs. Sherman.
Well, I'd like to start tonight with inviting you and our public to some of the upcoming things that are going on here at the school. The first being our art show, which is a first since I've been building anyway. Tomorrow night from 5 to 7, Mrs. Namelli is setting up to have an art show throughout the building to highlight the work of her students, K through 6. And they've made some pretty incredible things for elementary kids. So if you're free to stop down and take the tour, we welcome you. We also have our annual metric meet this Friday, starting at 9:30 in the morning. The federal programs team will be hosting a book bingo for students and families on May 22nd at 6 o'clock. And then we have our sixth grade recognition program on Wednesday, the 24th at 1 o'clock for our sixth graders and their families. Some other upcoming events that are in-school events, not public events, we have the PTO-sponsored Fun Day on May 25th, our STEAM Day that we have annually that our STEAM team prepares for the kids. It's an all-day center-based STEAM-themed day. That will be May 26th. And on May 31st, our PBIS team is doing a reward day at our local parks, Emlenton and Parker, for all students who earned their quarter 4 reward. So this is the first time we did an earned reward for the kids, and they had to have no major violations and no more than 3 minors to be able to go on the trip. And the majority of the kids have earned that. That will be from, we're going to start loading up about 9:30, and then we would return from the parks about 1:30, hoping to be back here by 2. Start loading up at 1:30 and be back here by 2. So that will be our next to last day of school. And then we do have in preparation our summer program that we've done for the last 2 summers. I have the staff all lined up, and we're now working to invite the students. It is run the same as our after-school program, where it's data-based, and we're looking at kids who are not quite benchmark or who are just barely benchmark and need that little extra skill boost. So we call it our summer skills camp. And that will be for 3 weeks, starting June 13th on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And we do provide transportation to families who need that if that's a barrier to the students attending. So that's all I have for tonight.
Great, thank you. So we need to do consideration to approve the Allegheny-Clarion Valley School District Title I complaint procedures introduction as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Basically, it's an update of some policy, that we always have, so. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. And consideration to approve hosting a summer school remediation program at the elementary and senior high schools during the summer of 2023. So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? I know last time, Bill, you were saying that you were having trouble getting teachers to, have you gotten people lined up, or?
No.
So there may not be a
It may
junior.
not be at the
Okay, so it's just going to be at the elementary.
And just to add to that, we will be using the ESSER ARP money to cover the cost of the summer remediation program.
I got one question. So the teachers at the high school, is it they don't want to do it, or it's just the pay? Like, what's the there?
I believe it's the pay.
Okay.
It's contractual, right?
Correct. I think, part of it is many of the teachers that, I don't want to speak ill will of anybody, that's for sure. A lot of the teachers that volunteer for everything are worn out. By the time the end of the school year comes, they're just done. And a lot of those same people don't live within the district, they live a little further away. They drive here for that, the pay for that is, it's just not a big enough incentive.
Do you have a lot of kids that would have to be part of, that you would like to be a part of the program?
Last year we had, I think, about 15. I would probably be right around the same number.
We don't have any subs that are interested, do we?
One sub is, give me his name, that he would be interested. But we haven't talked specifics about, how many hours, things like that. And that's the other problem. It's not a full day, so you're not coming and working a full day or even half a day. For somebody to drive, the distance that some of our subs do, it's just not worth it for them either.
Are there elementary teachers certified that could potentially fill those roles within the district? Maybe if they're not doing it at the elementary school, that are certified to teach the program at the high school?
That's a possibility because I don't think, I'd have to look into it, but certification is not a barrier.
Oh,
when it comes to summer school. Unless it's something that's through an IEP, that would be a different story.
They do have to be content area certified though, because I have a couple special teachers who are helping out, but they can't do the ELA and the math portions by the grants, is how Carrie explained it to me. So we do an ELA section, a math section, and we do like a STEM science-based, that's more fun. Because if you don't make it fun, kids won't come in the summer. So we do the math and the ELA, but the special teachers help out with that STEM piece, like that's the center that they do. So that we have our certified people in the content areas.
Is there money within the grant that we could offer a one-time bonus or incentive to participate in it upon completion of the program? Then the teachers would be gifted X amount of dollars. That's a strictly one-time bonus.
If it wasn't written into the grant, I don't think we could add that now.
Okay.
A lot of times the language, I mean, it depended on the RFP, whether or not they allow you to use funds for stipends or, I don't know. It's ESSER
We could
money,
check them.
but it's already allotted, right? All the ESSER money's allotted?
Yeah, we would have to change the narrative, which is something that could be done. But I just don't know about bonuses being incorporated.
Yeah, but if we do it high school, we'd have to do it elementary as well.
Right. Yeah, it'd have to be across the board, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, something we can look into, I guess. So do we want to keep junior, senior high school in this bill in case it ends up working out?
I can work with Lori and see what the teacher to student ratio is at the elementary here. And if there was room even to take my most needy students, that could be a possibility.
so how many people do you need? There's only 15 kids.
Well, only 15 kids, but the span of where they would be as far as their ability in reading, writing, math, 5 teachers would be fantastic. That'd be 3 each and group them up. And, that would be the most helpful. 3, I could get away with 3.
What about retired teachers?
That's a possibility. I don't know of any that would, that are interested in coming in that aren't subbing.
Okay, so any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, secondary report, Dr. Jordan.
I wanted to mention that the testing in the whole district is almost over. The only thing left are the Keystone exams, which we started today. We will finish that up next Wednesday, hopefully, with makeups. And we anticipate getting those results sometime in July. Once we get those results, flesh out the percentages and things like that, we will share it with the board to let you know where we are with that. We put a lot of effort this year as educators into trying to create an environment where kids are less afraid of the test, more willing to put some effort into the test. I'd like to thank the parents of the district because the students have responded fairly well with that. The attendance was better probably this year than in years past. It's always more difficult to do makeup on these tests than it is to sit with the group. It's quiet, everybody's doing the thing. Whereas with a makeup, there's no, might be 1 or 2 other people around. It's more distracting. So the students have done a nice job this year, at least from what I have seen. So we're hoping that that translates into results. One thing else that we did at the high school was, for instance, ELA was tested in the PSSAs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of the ELA week, what we call the ELA week. What we did was the week prior to that, on Thursday and Friday, we blocked out 3 classes in the afternoon just to work with students on how do you approach a specific question. The open-ended questions, which are heavily weighted, we work them through problems so that they, had some skills in just the mechanics of the test. Even small groups, working with them on how to approach a multiple choice question. So that hopefully those test-taking skills will even bump up some of that response a little bit. And I can say we're not allowed to look at test questions, but myself and Mrs. Funfer and Lori have to go through and look to just make sure kids didn't skip sections, or in case there is a makeup that maybe we missed that has a section that hasn't been taken. And from what I've seen, there's just visually looking at the amount of writing on the open-ended pieces, it looks good. There's lots of writing. What that translates into as far as points, I don't know, but it's sure a whole heck of a lot better than a blank space, or I don't know, or I don't understand the prompt. So hopefully we have good news for you coming July 1st of August when it comes to the testing. As you can see from, Lexi Ruck-Pichel's presentation tonight, our teacher saw a lot of good presentations of the high school. She was just a good example and somebody that was willing to come down and share with you. I think the new format for the graduation project really is good for students. It gets them out into the community with community service. It engages them in career and college readiness by requiring job shadowing or going to colleges to tour various colleges. You can see Lexi did her homework. She knew exactly how much it was going to cost her at Slippery Rock, how much it would cost her at Clarion, and at Butler Community College. That helps them and their families make informed decisions, which I think is super valuable. So we're going to tweak some things out as far as our part, what we receive from students, and how we're going to respond to students that maybe don't do what they need to do. But I think that moving forward, it's going to be very valuable for these kids. I'd like to report that we made it back safely from the senior trip. I think that most of the students had a good time, and there are no real issues to report. In case you didn't know, we went down to Tennessee, Dollywood, Gatlinburg, that area, and the weather was beautiful. I know you all suffered with rain and cold weather. There will be a blood drive this Wednesday at the high school in the LGI. You can come as early as 8 o'clock. And then that night, there's a choral concert at the high school starting at 7. So if you have opportunity, come on. As far as athletics, our softball and baseball team are headed to District 9 playoffs. Friday is the last regular season play date. And the District 9 chairman for softball and baseball will be looking at school records and rankings and come out with the schedule for playoffs for next week. So keep your eyes and ears open. We will try to advertise it on our athletics webpage. Along with that, District 9 track meet is in Brookville this Friday. We have a great representation of various athletes in multiple areas. It is possible that we could be sending 6 students to states. Just to give you an idea of how that all plays out at states, last year we had a couple of students take first place, get actual state medals. When they do the rankings and the points, DC Valley Union Track did very well. For a small school in the AA area, we did very well. We send six students down to states this year and they all do well. You might be hearing something really good coming out of our athletic program. And finally, I would like to recognize one of our own right here. In case you haven't heard, Grace Barlett is one of 72 students selected for the Pennsylvania Governor's School for the Sciences from an exceptional applicant pool of 403 students from across Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania Governor's School for Sciences is a summer enrichment program in math, computer science, physics, chemistry, and biology for rising high school seniors throughout the state of Pennsylvania. It's hosted at Mellon Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh for 5 weeks in the summer. It features curriculum and hands-on laboratory research that makes use of the sophisticated technology and facilities at Carnegie Mellon. I'd like to congratulate you. Nice job. And that's my secondary report.
Great, thank you. So consideration to approve changing the yearbook companies for the 2023-2024 school year from Walsworth Yearbooks, they've been used since 2013, to Tree Ring as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. And do we have a federal programs report?
Ms. Longo and I have been working to prepare for our ESSER monitoring, which is going to be June 5th and run for about 5 days. So there's a lot of reports and documents that we have to get uploaded into the system to prepare for the monitoring. So just working on that, and we still have not received final budget numbers for next year on Title IIA or Title IV. So just waiting on those, and that's all I have to report.
Great, thank you. The district report.
Thank you, Jimmy. Just an update on the athletic trainer. We are working with Union School District to help with physicals. And as we know, the Union trainer takes care of all the home games at Union and some practices. With that being said, we've reached out to Clarion Rehabilitation, and Dr. Jordan and I will be meeting with Seth on Wednesday to talk about future collaboration. And they just hired a trainer up there. I'm not sure if they have availability or if they're planning to hire other people. So it's kind of a step in the right direction for our athletic program. In addition to that, Carrie, Andrea, and myself had logged on and had worked on the COPS grant, and this was something that was shared with us recently, and it was somewhat laborious to get into the program. We got accounts set up for future grants, but this particular stream of money had a cash match associated with it, and you could not use that grant to pay for police officers. So we'll continue to look for safety-related money. I do hear that the safety and security dollars will be distributed next year, but we have not received any kind of confirmation. I know we're looking at continuing to add to our safety program, and we're working on it. And then finally, we do have the reunification drill planned for the end of the school year. We're going to actually run it 2 separate occasions. We did this drill at the end of last year at the elementary. We plan on taking it to the high school. That is part of Act 55 of 2022. It required 1 hour of annual training for school employees. We've done several lockdowns throughout the year and continue to do the training, but we will focus in on the reunification plan. We can do it here on campus, or if we had to do it off campus somewhere, we can do that as well. And just keep in mind, that kind of goes hand in hand with the hazard mitigation plan that we have. If we have a situation that took place here on campus and we had to reunify our students with their parents, we will have a plan in place. So we have the plan in place right now. We'll continue to practice it and make it. And just keep in mind too that the reunification will come whenever the entire scene has been cleared, everything's safe to be sending the student back up. And Jermaine, that concludes the district report.
Okay, great, thank you. So we have some things we have to vote on here. Consideration to approve a varsity girls basketball athletic cooperative agreement between the Union School District and Allegheny Clearing Valley School District, starting with the 2023-2024 school year and continuing through the 2024-2025 school year as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Consideration to approve a junior high girls basketball athletic cooperative agreement between Union School District and Allegheny Clearing Valley School District, starting with the 2023-2024 school year and continuing through the 2024-2025 school year as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just because I'm struggling with this one a little bit, so I guess, Bill, this one's for you. This is not on the table because of the numbers now, but looking forward with cooperative agreements so that the girls have the opportunity to play together in the coming years towards the varsity program. Is that correct?
Yes. To be, continuity of the program, just to making sure that everything is the same. We do it with football, we're doing it now with baseball, softball, cheer, all of it has, been done simultaneously.
We are looking at adding a 9th grade team if the numbers are there.
If the numbers are there, yes, absolutely.
How is this going to affect the transportation by adding on the junior high? I mean, I know we're running into
Because
different.
it's not in the spring.
The spring is the tough one. In the winter, we only have basketball. That's really all we have. With the spring, oh my goodness, it's just been insane.
Yeah.
Softball, baseball, all levels, track, all levels. It's been very tough. But in the winter, I can't speak for Lori or for Dave Sherman, but I think that it would be a little easier. Plus, girls basketball technically is like the end of October into December, that season there instead of
Is there an
the
overlap
junior
with
high,
football
The junior high.
at the end of football.
at the end of football?
Yeah, unless they would go deep into the playoffs.
I know we had a concern that we really didn't discuss junior high at our meeting, but we've sent a notice out to let parents know that we were discussing it tonight. So did anybody hear any negative comments? I didn't. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Days.
Or anybody else?
Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries.
Consideration to approve the Cleary County Hazard Mitigation Plan, HMP, as attached. And we're adopting the Cleary County 2023 Hazard Mitigation Plan resolution dated May 15th, 2023. So,
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
consideration to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Allegheny Clarion Valley School District and the Allegheny Clarion Valley First Program effective June 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
So what do I have to do with this next one?
It's just basically information.
Okay.
Yay, I'm done.
Darn. Student board representative report.
As Dr. Jordan said, a lot of the testing is wrapping up here. We had AP classes, the AP tests that were administered last week, and they have concluded. The PSSAs have concluded for all of the 7th and 8th graders, and the Keystone testing will be shortly over, not just started today. So that is biology, algebra, or ELA, and that's based on whatever classes students have had throughout this year. I know a lot of the 9th graders who take biology 1, they are the ones who have to then take the biology test. We have some other events. At the 2023 prom, it was a success. Everyone enjoyed the food and the DJ at Grown-ups. A lot of the senior projects, they were successful for everyone because everyone with the requirements were great and they all passed. We also have some other trips here in May, as chaotic as May can be. But one of the trips that was just planned, it was last Tuesday. It was the PBIS trip to Urban Air, and that was for all students in 7th through 12th grade. We didn't have any discipline referrals. Mrs. Lowe and some other students, they visited the West Freedom Cemetery and they participated in community service. the majority of these students were students who still needed community service hours to fulfill their requirement for their whatever unit is. Ms. Atwood is also going to take a couple students, about 10 to 12 students, to the Allegheny General on Possible on May 23rd, and they're going to watch open heart surgery as a career exploration opportunity.
Great, thank you. And do we have a school police report today?
It's at your table.
Okay. Is it not? All right, so we'll move on to policy. Brady, would you like to do policy for us?
Sure, so I'm going to lump A and D together. First reading of policy 137, home education and programs is attached. 137.1, extracurricular participation by home education students. Policy 137.2, participation in co-curricular activities and academic courses by home education students. And policy 137.3, participation in career and technical education programs by home education students as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Consideration to approve retiring policy 255, educational stability for children in foster care as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. We'll move on to facilities. I don't think we have a report. Okay, so we can move on to transportation, which looks like we have nothing tonight. All right. Carrie, do you want to do miscellaneous for us?
Sure. Career Center reports.
So we're just wrapping things up at the end of the year. They're doing a lot of recognition programs. There's a couple field trips that happened. Some diesel students went to a Cummins engine plant. There were some students who participated and did pretty well in their respective fields for different, like the cosmetology competition or the nursing competition. And that's about it, just wrapping things up at the end of the year.
Yeah, we had a strategic planning meeting too, discussing, they brought 3 potential other classes to discuss that we could possibly incorporate into the curriculum there, using space that's already available or with little cost to get started. So she's been really thinking about that, and the board president is Jill Boyce, who is the Northwest Planning Commission executive director, so she has a lot of insight to that information on what is needed in our area. And so that was a very good discussion. She's identified 3, like I said, that she could look into for next year.
You know what those words mean? In other words, those would be 3 different
Yes, well,
certifications.
one was a big discussion about the auto shop. We have some shops that aren't doing real well enrollment-wise, which is hard for the course. The auto technology situation has been where we have a full-time permanent instructor in there now, so we're hopeful that that will start turning around. That was a long 5 years of uncertainty with that. But auto body is a very, very big shop or job in our area. And the big discussion was whether we closed the auto technology shop and opened up as an auto body. Could we combine that type of thing? If we did put a paint booth in, where would we put it? What could we do? The other one was expanding welding. She has the highest wait list for students to get into welding. What did she say, 18?
Yeah, right about.
Something like that. Sometimes they don't ever get in for their first choice shop. And they were talking about adding 6 new welding booths.
Yeah, a couple welding booths and trying to
where
expand
could
the
we
shop.
put them without having to add on to the building again? There was talk about up on the mezzanine that's already metal, so we could possibly put them up there. There was, some concern about supervision and things like that. Then the third one was a completely new shop regarding education, regarding teachers, educating teachers, bringing them in. They would be doing a lot of coursework or field work out in the schools. I'm not sure, we didn't really get into what they would be certified to do. It wouldn't be where they could, take the place of a teaching certification, obviously, but it would get them very familiar with possibly getting their aid, like paraprofessional.
Yeah, or guest teacher.
certification.
Guest teacher, yeah.
Yes, guest teacher, things like that. There's a huge need for that, and that would be the easiest one with the less amount of money to get started. We have the classroom, it would be class books and a teacher, which would have to be a certified teacher in that case, because not all the shops, of course, have to have a certified teacher because they're tradesmen. But so that was one we really discussed. So I'm curious to see
Yeah.
next week where she's moved forward with those.
Right.
Culinary arts is struggling. We had a lot of discussion about how many kids are in the morning as compared to the afternoons to keep them even. And culinary is struggling in the afternoon. And one of the schools had mentioned, why do we still have that one open, or should it go part-time? So she will be watching that class closely too. She had quite a few new enrollees into some of the classes, the courses that weren't doing real well, so she, didn't want to say, no, you couldn't go in them. Or she would have to rotate everybody through the whole 3 years before she could consider not having those courses anymore. So it was a very good discussion, and she's always so forward-thinking and always looking to improve the situation of the kids. And did you mention last time that you were the speaker at the National Honor Society thing?
I don't-
Yeah, they have their National Honor Society, I think it was at Keystone.
Yeah, Keystone.
So that he was the keynote speaker. So, yeah, I didn't get to go, but they were all very complimentary of what he did. And she had several career fairs too, didn't she?
Yeah, she had a career fair. I stopped by the one day, and it was sectioned off to different employers for different shops. So like if you were in cosmetology, like a lot of like hairstylists and stuff like that. If you're in construction, a lot of like Chronospan, like different construction companies around the area had tables, and they were holding interviews there, some of them, so.
Yeah.
So they're doing a lot of good things.
Yeah.
The cosmetology kids actually go to the nursing homes, and they'll paint the nails for the
They've been
residents
doing a
there.
lot of community service on their own, to do that. And,
They built a couple of benches for a couple different places. That's about it. But they're doing a lot of community outreach, which I think is awesome.
All right, which is me, there was not a quorum for April, so we did not have a meeting. Our main meeting is next Wednesday. Cool. I think it's the graduation.
Yeah.
Oh, that's still me, yeah.
Yep, still you.
Did we have any correspondence?
No correspondence.
Technology committee,
We haven't met.
athletic committee,
Just something to keep in mind, I will be sending out an email after working with Scott Kendall to pull together to interview for football coach. David and I got an email from Scott Kendall today, and he's really pushing the urgency of getting somebody hired so that we're ready for summer. So that should be coming shortly.
did he say how many applicants?
Did not.
They had?
Is that going to be the joint committee now that will work on hiring?
Yes.
Good.
So they've already advertised?
Yes, they already have applicants that they received, so we just have.
I know they have at least 2. I'm not sure if they have more.
Are they existing coaches?
Yes.
Football field renovation committee,
I'm just working on a grant to potentially add to that. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, James and I will be meeting with somebody to talk about sod replacement up there. Somebody that James I contacted.
and finance committee. We are working on getting the questionnaires out to the staff, working through a little bit of logistics, but we should have that here in the next couple days. Hopefully it'll be a quick, easy link that they can click on and complete it, and have it sent out. HIPAA privacy, everything will be compliant with that. We have a couple, the holdup right now is we have some staff that don't have emails, that do have healthcare, so trying to figure out logistics there as to how they're going to get access to that link, whether they're going to be able to share a link that's already been used, or maybe like their boss can receive all these individual emails for each person and then just log into their phone, so.
I think I'll use a personal email.
I don't know, they might be able to. So I will check in on that. I reached out to them and hadn't got any correspondence, so there wasn't really any back and forth, but I will ask about that. I had reached out to a new, healthcare company, and I had spoken about that before, and I wasn't really sure if they were in, the whole picture for us, and they're not. They're only on the pharmacy side. So I don't know if it's really something that we want to pursue or not. I mean, it would still hopefully be savings at least on one part. But they actually wanted to get with a broker of ours. So I wanted to kind of see if we wanted to give my parents' name to them, or if we had anybody else in mind that maybe if we wanted to move forward, or if we just wanted to say no at this point since they didn't reach the whole healthcare picture with that, and then just, I mean, budget, we've been talking budget and stuff, so. Other than that, I don't really have any other updates.
Okay, old business. The only thing I wanted to ask you, David, was about, remember you talked about those bus radios?
Oh, yes.
Did they ever come in? Did they work?
Yeah, Lori can talk a little bit about it. She spearheaded that
Yeah.
project.
The issue was the ones on our end, like for Megan to be able to hear them, it had to be at a certain place by the bulletproof window, like we couldn't move it around the office or anything like that. The people that had it out in the field could radio in, but we had to find that specific spot, so that was not good. Because probably I'm the one who would need it in my office, because it's like from the time Megan is gone and I'm there without a secretary, that, you know, if the driver, because they could call the school number if they have to, it would just be easier if they could radio in, but I would then either have to go out and sit right by that spot at the window, or, yeah, so there was, yeah, that was a setback, and I talked to Aaron about it too, to see if, because they had told us something like it was satellite based, or we shouldn't have those problems, but, Aaron, didn't you say that it's not?
Their GPS and the tracker they are, but they're cellular. So they run off the AT&T network.
So the actual handhelds run off the
Yeah, so
cellular
just
network.
imagine them as a cell phone based walkie-talkie. There are boosters you can get through AT&T that hook into the internet and one of those things. That's possible. We've not had a ton of luck with our group-based signal boosters. So we could go either way with that. That's all.
That's what I was wondering, if a booster would maybe make it work a little better. I mean, it's at least you're getting, we're at least up ahead of where we were, because we haven't been able to find anything. I don't know if you want to try
I
a
think the
booster.
farthest point, Ann Myers had hers, and she was in Callinsburg at that whole store.
Yeah, Emery's.
Emery's, yeah.
And it worked?
Yes, she was able to radio in. But again, like Megan had, it's been right to that
How
spot.
about West Monterey? Does it work?
Did not send one down there, but
It's like,
we had to send them back before I had a chance to send them out too many places. We
Did
had
you
to
hook that
return.
up to Wi-Fi somehow?
I don't believe that those are on one. You have to ask the vendor.
The ones they sent us didn't have that capability. I don't know
I
if they had one
imagine
that.
the way that they operate probably should be able to do that, so just run off the cellular data.
so I guess we're still pursuing that.
I sent them back and I talked to the vendor and they said that there's some kind of software upgrade and he's going to contact me afterwards. So maybe we can give it a round too. Jeff and Aaron took it out one day. It seemed to work good, and then it rained really bad the next day and they didn't have very good. So
Well, even with the leaves on makes a difference, you know?
we're still working on it.
Okay. Any new business?
This letter for
Pardon?
this resignation.
Yes, we need to add that. So we are going to add, because we just received this resignation from Emma Fox as the assistant varsity cheerleading coach. Do I have someone who would like to make that motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the letter of resignation.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? And then we also need a motion to advertise now for that position.
So here's our head coach, Stacy's still our head coach. She wants to still do it.
Shh.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Sure.
Yeah, she does one more year every year.
Yeah. So we need a motion to advertise that position.
I'll make a motion that we advertise for the vacated assistant varsity cheerleading coach position.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, I think now we've caught everything. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Thank you, Eric. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Just a reminder, if you haven't paid Carrie, we owe her $11, each of us, for her kind offer to provide Diane with some meals. And
Yes,
Diane was
thank
like,
you all very much for that.